If there is one thing about Pokémon Scarlet and Violet that makes them such interesting and fascinating games, it has got to be the lore, and with lore naturally comes mysteries. This is true for pretty much any video game, and it's especially so in Pokémon, and especially so in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, as there are a bunch of unsolved mysteries surrounding the story and lore of these games. I've already gone over some of these in a past video, but in today's video, I wanted to talk about what I think is arguably the biggest unsolved mystery of them all. I'm going to be going over what this mystery is and trying to analyze it as in-depth as I possibly can. And while it is the biggest unsolved mysteries in these games for a reason, I'm going to try to come to some sort of conclusion on them. So strap on in, because this one is going to be a really interesting one. Okay, so the big unsolved mystery in question here that occurs in Pokémon Scarlet and Violet has to do with none other than the logos of the games themselves. Within each of these respective logos are 4 symbols that can be seen within the corners of these logos. And while at first glance they seem to be simple iconography just for the decorum of the logo itself, once you actually get into the game, it is proven pretty quickly and pretty decisively that these symbols actually mean much more than just that. That is because not only do these symbols appear within the logos for the games, each one of them also appears within the games themselves, and 3 of them appear both within Area Zero as well as within the Scarlet and Violet books, which obviously are the central figures of these games' plots. The 4th symbol that doesn't appear in Area Zero or in the Scarlet and Violet books can be found on a whiteboard in Sada and Turo's laboratory, who themselves are of course studying both the books and Area Zero itself, meaning that all 4 of these symbols have some kind of connection to what is going on within this area. You could interpret this as simple iconography and symbolism to represent in the logo what is actually important within the game, which is obviously Area Zero, and I think that is part of what is going on here, but these symbols definitely also have more substantial meaning than just this as well, that is ultimately going to, most likely, have an impact on the overarching and developing plot of these games. The reason why this is all a mystery, though, is because what these symbols mean and what impact they are going to have on the plot of these games is not quite known to this point. If we break down and take a little bit closer look at each one of these symbols individually, though, we can start to get some information about what they could ultimately mean. The 4 symbols represent a hexagon shape, a triangle-like shape, what I'm going to refer to as a PacMan-like shape, and a squiggle-like shape. I'm going to be taking an in-depth look here at each one of these symbols and everything we possibly know and can infer about them to see if this information can ultimately tell us anything. The first symbol I am going to start with is the Hexagon Symbol. The Hexagon Symbol is pretty important overall to these games because not only does it appear in the Scarlet and Violet book, where Heath draws it while supposedly under the influence of a mysterious force, but it's also mentioned that the mysterious terrestrial Pokemon that we've still yet to see also has hexagonal plates on its body. Additionally, the time machine that can be found within the Zero lab that is of course within Area Zero is shaped like a hexagon, and it is actually most likely the case that this symbol is in fact depicting the time machine itself, because there is a Pokeball within this hexagon symbol, and we of course know that Pokeballs come out of this hexagon-shaped time machine when Sada and Turo are catching the Paradox Pokemon from the past and future. So this one we can actually pretty definitively say that we know what it is supposed to be referring to, which is that of the time machine. When it comes to the other three, however, we've got the triangle, PacMan, and Squiggle symbols, and I'm going to next look at the triangle symbol. This triangle-like symbol appears on a metal plate that can be found within Area 0 in the game, but is also mentioned within the Scarlet and Violet books to have been unearthed during Heath's expedition into the area 200 years ago. It is noted by Heath in the books that nothing could be done to this metal to make any kind of engravings or scratches on it, and the kind of metal that it is completely unknown to them. And in addition to the triangle symbol, this metal plate also has an engraving of the Paldea region on it as well. It is admittedly pretty difficult to speculate on what all of this could mean, especially all together, but one thing that some people have pointed out about this triangle symbol in particular is that it resembles a sextant, which is a type of tool that is used in celestial navigation, which is that of using the stars to be able to figure out where you are and how to get where you need to go. Given that, as we said earlier, the hexagon symbol that we analyzed previously is most assuredly in reference to the time machine that is present in the game, and now we have this symbol that is resembling a navigatory device, this could be indicating or could be in reference to time travel of some kind. It is possible that this symbol was put here on this metal plate by a time traveler, or that this symbol is telling people who are able to read and decipher it how to be able to time travel themselves. And given that time travel was successfully achieved within the game with Sada and Turo's time machine, it's possible that they were actually able to use and decipher the symbol that's on the plate in order to figure out how to actually achieve time travel itself. So to recap, we've got one symbol that is representing the time machine that Sada and Turo built, and one symbol that is most likely representing the concept of time travel, possibly through the use of the aforementioned time machine. The third symbol I am going to look at are the PacMan-like symbols that appear both within the Scarlet and Violet books, as well within a cave that is deep within Area Zero's depths. It is questioned by Heath in the Scarlet and Violet books whether or not these markings were made by someone from the Paldean Empire, or if they're possibly even older than that, and he suspects that they have some kind of meaning to them. We know, thanks to Miss Ryfort's history lessons, that the Paldean Empire's expeditions into Area Zero largely ended in failure, so it is unlikely that these symbols came from those people. However, we don't really know of any other humans other than them and Heath's expedition team that could have made this symbol earlier on than that. So this symbol, given its intricate nature, is most likely either connected to the mysterious Terastal legendary Pokemon that I mentioned previously, or it is another example of time travel occurring, because it would have had to have been put there by a time-traveling person in order for it to be present by the time Heath ended up there 200 years ago. We can also infer that time and time travel is going to be a heavy theme and point of emphasis with this mysterious Terastal legendary Pokemon, so it very easily could be responsible and be woven into a lot of what we're talking about here today. But in terms of this particular symbol and what it could be representing within this larger idea, it's honestly hard to say. I can't really pick out one particular thing that it's supposed to represent like I did the other two. I just know that it is most likely connected to this time traveling that we have established is going on, and could potentially be connected to the Terastal legendary as well. And last but not least, the fourth symbol that appears in the logos for these games is the Squiggle Symbol. And as I mentioned previously, the Squiggle Symbol is interesting because it is the only one of the four that does not appear in both Area Zero and the Scarlet and Violet books, instead appearing within Sada and Turo's lab within the lighthouse that is near Cabo Poco. Given this fact, I feel like this Squiggle Symbol is a little less related to the other three in terms of what actually is going on in Area Zero and is going on with all of this time travel stuff. The fact that it appears not only outside of those three, but also within Sada and Turo's lab, says to me that this symbol most likely represents the professor's research into Area Zero and the Scarlet and Violet books, and subsequently the other symbols. This could also explain why this symbol is a little more squiggly, because it could be representing the flow of time and the professor's research into time travel. So all in all of these four symbols are representing something that has to do with time and time travel. It's obviously very important to the games, but there's something that we don't quite know about it. And that is what the ultimate outcome of these symbols and all this information is. Is it all just in reference to what we've already seen in the game and the professor's work and research to build the time machine, which did get completed within the main story of these games? And is that the ultimate climactic conclusion? Or is it the time machine that is going to be used in the investigation of these symbols, which we will ultimately learn more about in some kind of future DLC? Given that DLC is very likely to be coming in these games due to this as well as a bunch of other factors, it does seem to be the case that the contents of Area Zero and the Scarlet and Violet book, and therefore these symbols as well, are going to be of prime importance and are going to play a big role in what that DLC has to offer. And that ultimately leads me to believe that these symbols will in fact play some kind of additional role. We will find out more about what is going on within Area Zero and potentially with these symbols, and to some degree we will get some kind of explanation as to what is going on with all of this mysterious stuff due to the very, very likely possibility that DLC is going to come soon. From there, the only real question that is left to ask here is, how is this time travel that is likely going to play a part in this likely DLC going to be used? I think it's either going to be the case that we as the player will be able to time travel to some degree, or there will be characters in the game that will be time traveling to some degree. Possibly Sada and Turo from the distant past and future, possibly Heath, who is kind of the origin point to all of this stuff as a researcher, or there are other possibilities as well, such as the mysterious Terrastal legendary that obviously has a big connection to all of this too. That is unfortunately about as far as I can speculate though, so what do you guys think about this? What do you think the meanings of the symbols are, and what do you think it's going to mean for Scarlet and Violet DLC, and whether or not we will find out what is truly going on here? Be sure to let me know all those thoughts in the comments below, and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more if you're new. I will be back very soon with another video as well, so until then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching this one. I really, really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.